there folks, it's Kikoskia here and welcome back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity, and when last we left off we're busy exploring Stormwall Gorge, a place with a lot of rain and an ancient ruin that has been marked on the map as a point of interest. It's probably somewhere we're going to be returning to at a future date, as soon as we get the thing we need to activate this device. We don't know what this device is or how it functions.
I'm here.
But it seems to be important. With that said, it's time for us to keep sneaking about, for we found feral druids and primordial beings alongside elder lions. And all of them are dangerous.
Yes?
Must be cautious and careful. And stop as soon as we encounter... Oh, hello! You are a named person, and you do not appear to be hostile. Appear to be is the key word, though. So, let's go over and say hello.
I'm here.
How are you doing? Chewing on a piece of uncooked meat, a small Orlan dressed in tattered leathers offers a mumbled greeting and waves his hand. Despite his pleasant smile, the upper right portion of his face is in a sorry state. An eye patch stitched with a stylized eyeball wraps around his head, and his ear is a mangled remnant that twitches and spasms while the other ear perks up at your approach. Next to him is the splayed carcass of a deer that appears ripped open by a bear or wolf. I think we found a new companion. You hear a gurgling rumble next to you. Sagani places a hand on her stomach. Her eyes are on the carcass. Still fresh? Itamak's pink tongue lolls out of his mouth.
If this is your deer, you need a new game warden. Name's Heravius. Hungry? I can't eat all this. First catch of the day, help yourself.
He smiles. Bits of sinew and tendon dangle from his bloody lips. His good one eye twinkles. You might want to cook that first.
And ruin the original texture? That's the best part! Just see for yourself.
Turning his attention to the corpse, he plunges his hands into the deer's vivisected abdomen.
Eat up!
With a smile, he holds up the truncated end of the beast's innards in front of you. After you. His one eye locks yours, and he tears off several inches of intestine with one ripping bite. He slowly chews, his eyes squinting at you.
So delicious. Now I know the deer had elderberries for its last meal. Are you sure you don't want to try some?
This man is a very peculiar character. I have a hunch he's a druid, and I bet that hunch is going to be vindicated when I ask more about this deer. What killed the deer?
One ornery Stelgar. Though looking at the deer's insides, it had a malformed but delicious heart, and would have been dead within the year regardless.
You know a lot about animals.
Gallowayne chose a fitting end for this fine animal. Pardon me, I shouldn't pray with my mouth full.
What brings you here?
Other than the delicious venison, new trees to document, new animals to sketch, new sights to be seen. I've learned as much as I can from the druids of my circle. I'd rather wander and learn than take root and stagnate.
There we go. He's a druid.
So if you're traveling to Dyrford and need another set of hands, I'd welcome the safety of a group.
Sure. Go on.
I'm trained by the celebrants of Hawk and Ivy of the Fisher Crane tribe. I know more than my share of nature magic, and, well, I don't shy away from a good fight.
An impish smile overcomes his face.
I have business with the druids that live near Twin Elms. So long as we find ourselves there eventually, I'm happy to follow along.
You're welcome to join us then.
Splendid! It'll be an honor to run with a pack for a change.
We don't have space for you right now. I'll go talk to you later, sir. And then he disappears. I'm definitely going to have to talk to him later. But not right now.
I'm here.
For the moment, I'm going to keep exploring. Now, Elms... the place he wants to go to is around here. Now, I get the feeling we're not going to be able to get here on account of the water.
Yes.
There's probably too much water in this area. Let's see if that's the case by going down here.
Hey,
But hey, won't say no
I'm
to
here.
another potential companion. That said, we already have a lot of companions, so... yeah, there's a lot of water here. Yep, we aren't going to be doing anything down here for the time being. Not until the water abates. So we've actually explored all the map that we can right now, except for this tiny slither here. What else there is currently submerged. So
Yes?
we can safely unstealth, go this way, and head over to Dyrford village. Could do with finding a nice inn and resting up. And if we go this way, we can indeed reach Dyrford village in 6 hours. Let's go! There's an ancient ruin there. Looks to be an inn. And if we check the map, we have the Temple of...
Pagani, does your fox bite?
Yes,
Can I pet him anyway?
it's your hand.
I'm gonna pet him.
And then the fox was pet. Oh, it's a lovely exchange. So, Temple of Berath, Dyrford Mill, the Drakagen Inn, Windfirth's Arms and Armory, Hedina's Apothecary, Trigill's Carriere, Grieving Mother.
Yes?
Not sure I like the sound of Grieving Mother. Cowled Man, Cowled Woman, and Medrith. Let's start saying hi to people, shall we? How long do we got to stand out here? Until we find her, so keep your eyes peeled. Huh?
I'm here.
An elf idles by the road, watching the village across the river. He nods as you approach, and the cowled figures standing near him fall silent.
Well met, friend.
Greetings. A look of horror slowly forms in his face. Blazes, you've just come from the village, have you? How bad was it? How bad was what? Haven't you heard? There's a murderer on the loose. Said to have gone mad with grief and strangled a dozen healthy children when her own was hollowborn. He nods at the figures with him. We've come all the way from Defiance Bay to bring her to justice. She's here? He nods across the river. She's hiding out in the village. We go in after her ourselves, but the problem is she knows our faces. There's no telling what she'd do if she saw us coming. We'd like to avoid any further unnecessary bloodshed. He leans closer. Her name's Nyfre. She's an Orlan. We want to get her out of town so that we can deal with her cleanly. She knows we're looking for her, but if someone were to convince her that it's safe to leave, I could draw her out. Or at the very least I could talk to her and then get her side of the story. He nods. She won't know you. It'll be simple. I have a few questions for you though. What is it? What did Nyfre do exactly? She was responsible for the murder of all those babies in Defiance Bay, remember? Terrible thing. But we'll make her pay alright.
Welcome.
I'll get back to the search. We have a quest! Cat
Yes?
and mouse. I like the music here.
I'm here.
Let's go into the church. Ooh, let's also grab that reagent. Maybe there's people in the church that can give us some information about this quest. Or other quests. Oh, it's a pretty small place.
Yes?
Now that's dealing. So we're not going to
Certainly.
be doing that. Instead, we're going to be talking to Selby.
I'm here.
Move a little closer, party. Oh, no. I want you to do it. You must be wanting Beardmar. He's out of town. I'm just keeping the candles lit until he gets back. Oh. So the priest is not here. Flames dance amidst the scattered offerings. Keys, coins, and the tiny skulls of birds and mice are mired in the melted and hardened wax. So,
I'm here.
not a lot we can do here right now. That's fine. We'll keep exploring. We'll keep exploring.
I'd be glad to.
There's an area back here. There's an area over here. A huge area. There might be some reagents, yep, in this area that we can grab. Like river reed. And an entire party of Kickstarter-made characters. We're going to grab this golden celery. And also grab some more river reed. Can't go there. What about up here? This leads to absolutely nowhere. Looks like the road keeps going in this direction, though. Maybe heading out of the village to the east will give us another location. We don't know that for sure. But as these people said, we're unknown quantities here. So the person they're looking for might trust that this is a really nice bridge. Dyrford village must have been here for some time for this to be here. A word, traveller. I require only a moment.
You're quite
All right.
friendly, aren't you?
Welcome.
The guard gives you an appraising eye. You recently come to Dyrford, I take it. I don't suppose you saw a young elven noblewoman on the road. I'm stuck in this wretched place for the rest of my unit until we find her. Who is she? Lady Aelys. He bites his lip. She's the daughter of Lord Nestor Harond, and she's gone missing. Perhaps you could speak with Lord Harond at the inn. He'll be grateful for the assistance, and it could be the villagers will open up to you more than they have to us. Another quest!
I'm here.
Someone's missing. Well, let's see if we can find them. No promises, but I'll try.
I'm here.
And of course there's something here. That was too conspicuous. In here we have a grapple and
I'm here.
some herbs. Fantastic. Anything else along the river edge? Not that I can see. Well, here we have a small little farm. And a man tending to it. Damn Gallowayne for monsters like that! And damn the rest of the gods too!
I'm here.
Hello? A man paces angrily in front of a wrecked animal pen, his sun-weathered face twisted with ire. He's so wrapped up in his fury that he doesn't seem to notice you. Gallowayne slobbering beasts! Blazing bloody effigy! Thrice damned salty wench and her soggy... What's wrong? That monster stole my pigs! Traipsed into the village, tore down my pen, and made off with the whole damned herd! She's left a few little runts, and what am I supposed to do with them? What are you talking about? An ogre moved into the area not long ago. Folks have been seeing glimpses and tracks out in the wood, but it seemed to be staying away from town. So we all thought until it made off with my pigs. Now everyone's afraid it's going to develop a taste for kith, if it hasn't already. Did you see the ogre take your pigs? What else would have destroyed my pen and made off with my herd? And at the same time the rest of the village is seeing a 10-foot monster in the forest. I know it's too late to get my pigs back, but it had set my mind at ease to see that thing's head shorn from its neck. In fact, you bring its ugly pate to me, and I'll trade you for something that's of less use to a farmer like me than to a rowdy-looking sort like yourself. What do you know about the ogre? Living lands, it's the same as any other, I'm sure. A big, ugly son of a goit with a nasty temper and appetite to match. Trigil could tell you more. He claims to have seen it in the wood. You can find him in his shop, right by the broken tower. He waves a hand. But it's got to be tiny compared to the sorts of beasts you see up in the living lands. Need something else? I've been sent to find an Orlan named Nyfre. Know where she is? Never heard of her. Okay, so we have another quest. Find an ogre. Why do I get the feeling the ogre isn't the person that took the pigs? Yeah, it's probably the case. So in here we have a mill. This mill seems to be doing a lot better than the one in Gilded Vale. And here we have a villager and a villager.
Yes?
Let's have a chat. Have you been to Defiance Bay? I heard there's no hollowborn there. Doubtful. can't remember the last time we had a healthy birth in the village. That is very troubling. And here we have stealing, stealing, and stealing. We are
I'm here.
not going to be doing any of that. So instead, we will leave here and keep exploring about. There is a tavern nearby. We could go and find
You're
the
from
Lord.
Gilded Vale? Then you're close to home.
Close can mean a lot of things.
Surely you'll go back when this is all over.
Dunno. Guess that all depends.
It does, doesn't it? Oh, we have a villager here. That lord staying at the Drakagen has just about worn out his welcome. Villager! House Haran Guard and villager. House Haran Guard and villager. I don't suppose you've seen an young elven noblewoman around these parts. I have not. Let's pop into the inn. Go talk to this lord. See what they have to say. So, villager, Sid. You're a backer created character. So let's talk
I'm here.
to you.
Hail and well met.
A redhead stands by the fire, tuning her lute and plucking its strings. She hums snatches of a melody as she goes. First time at the Drakagen? Normally I'd have a song ready, but I haven't quite worked out this tune yet. I'm writing some chants about the founding of this inn. Say, are you interested in the story? I haven't finished the chants, but I could tell you about it all the same. Let's have it. Oh, excellent. These rustic fables are always great fun. Let me get out something to write with. It was built in the time of Hadret's rebellion. An Adiran lady, Thanu, once had a keep here. One of the towers still stands, but the rest is said to be buried under the village. Anyway, she stuck to the side of the Empire, and a contingent of Duke Hadret's Knights of the Crucible helped the farmers and colonists in the area turn her keep to rubble. This inn was the first building that sprang up from the ruin, built with some of the same bricks the colonists had pulled from Lady Thanu's castle, they say. Supposedly, the quarterstaff of her chief wizard even got lost in the construction, mortared in the wall or nailed under a floorboard. Anyway, the inn was supposed to be a haven and a meeting place while the locals built their new town. What's a Lady Thanu? A Thane, or Thanu, is a man or woman who's part of the military elite. A knight, if you will. Typically the position is inherited. A Lord Thane or Lady Thanu owns land and also commands several unlanded Thanes. The woman who last held the keep here came from a long line of landed Thanes. What do you mean supposed to be? Deerwoodens are an ornery lot, and the more these new neighbours met, the more they argued. They realised they didn't agree on much besides ousting the old lord. The biggest divide was over the Glanfathans and their nearby ruins. Hadret's knights and their supporters wanted to keep the peace, but a group of misfits with more anarchic leanings that had formed in town wanted to go after the tribes the same way they'd gone after their lord. Soon the villagers were fighting with each other as much as with the Adirans. In the end, memories of the broken Stormwall and the War of Black Trees were fresh enough that the Duke's soldiers won the day. Most of the other villagers came around eventually, but some of the core troublemakers left to join the front lines of the War of Defiance, and others, I've heard, found their way into the Gilded Compass, the most forward-looking of the Glanfathan tribes. I don't know if I believe that part myself, but it makes a good story. She points to the east wall. There's a portrait of one of the chief rabble-rousers and his rival in the peacekeeping faction. Someone's idea of a joke. I don't think they were particularly amused. Tell me about the War of Black Trees. It started back in the colonial days, almost 30 years after the broken Stormwall. Even though isolated conflict still broke out between the settlers and the Glanfathans, both sides had officially agreed to peace. Edrang Hadret, Adamath's father, was Gref at the time. As part of the peace negotiations, he'd signed treaties prohibiting Adiran colonists from looting Gwithan ruins. However, he'd been unable to outlaw the use of captured Glanfathans as slaves. What's a Gref? A Gref is the governor of a colony and is subservient to the Adiran emperor. The early leaders of the Adir colony in the Dyrwood, including Edrang and Adamath Hadret, were Grefs. At the start of the War of Defiance, Adamath Hadret declared himself Duke of an independent Dyrwood rather than Gref of the Emperor's colony. It was the same term used for leaders of the newly independent Valian republics. Anyway, we hadn't had a Gref since. I see. Indeed, the taking of Glanfathan slaves had continued to be a source of conflict. It came to a head when Imperial agents, aided by certain Earls of Mediewood, began looting the ruins again. See, the Empire had never actually agreed to Hadrit's treaties on the matter, and the recent secession of the Valian republics likely left them eager to weaken Hadrit's position. And this ended poorly. The looting sparked a brutal slave uprising and a guerrilla campaign among the Glanfathans. Edrang Hadrit was too old to lead forces into battle, and so he sent his son, Adameth. Adameth made a costly but effective decision that ended the war faster than anyone could have imagined. He burned the forest near the Icen River to keep the Glanfathan warbands from retreating. Thousands of Glanfathans died, and as Admeth repeated his scorched earth tactics in the following months, he wore down the remainder of their forces. To this day, over 150 years later, there are still sections of Dyrford where the trees are nothing but bare, charred trunks. As you can see, Dyrford's full of history, even in a little village like this. Want to hear about the broken Stormwall? It was the first major conflict between the original Adirian settlements of the Glanfathans. Happened 3 years into colonization when some farmers knocked over an Ardra menhir that was part of it and with them ruin. The war didn't last long, but it spread quickly and claimed thousands. In the early weeks, most of the colonists didn't even realize there was a war going on until the Glanfathan raiders hit their villages. There had been small, spontaneous skirmishes between the colonists and the locals before them, but this was organized, and it was the start of decades of violence between the colonists and the Glanfathans. Well, farewell. There's a lot of information there.
You're quite friendly,
And you
aren't
mentioned
you?
something about a staff being buried in the wall somewhere. We're gonna have to see if we can find that. I bet that's a lootable thing. But that will be for next time, folks, for when we come back, continuing to explore around Dyrford Village. Also, nice little motif of a dragon there. This is a really, really busy inn. Wonder if we can talk to the chef. I wonder if we can. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not. And if you are subscribed, press that bell for those notifications. And I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later.